it's Jen Suzuki, and I'm in the industry. I meet some of the greatest leaders out there, dealer execs, dealers, GMs, and I'm bringing them in the studio to talk to me about what's making their business pop, what's accelerating their growth. I'm sharing my own personal strategies for your sales teams, so I'm ready to get after it. Are you? Welcome back, listeners. I can't even tell you how excited I am today to introduce you to Janine Driver. If you have not heard of her before, you need to Google search ASAP, okay? One of the things that I was so intrigued by this amazing human is how well she's done in her world, in her wheelhouse of body language. That is our topic today. Not only has she taken it to the whole next level in her own career, but she's been on all sorts of talk shows. I just saw her on the morning show with Kelly and Mark. Morning show.
Mhm.
But that's not all. I mean, she's been on Nancy Grace and what else?
The Today Show,
The
Dr. Oz,
Today
Rachael
Show,
Ray,
Dr.
Rachel
Oz.
Ray. Yeah, Rachel Ray. A little bit of everybody.
Oh my gosh, I just think that's so cool because she's a subject matter expert on body language, and that's just one piece of her accolade. She's got a couple books. I'll let her share that. But one of the things that's so intriguing, and I can't wait to hear a little bit about this, is her history in law enforcement and doing work for CIA and even the firearms department, FBI probably.
Yep.
Also,
Yep.
so you've been in the law enforcement community. What's that all about?
Yeah, so I used to work for the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, ATF, from 21 to I don't, 18 years. So
Okay.
whatever 21 plus 18 is. And then I wrote a book and it did really well. And then I'm like, adios, amigos. I left the law enforcement and went out into the speaking world. And
Okay.
my job is to inspire people to look at their world in a different way. And I love your show, Jen. I love your enthusiasm. I love your entrepreneur spirit. I love how before the show started, you were talking about how you authentically want to help people and you bring in subject matter experts that can
Mhm.
help your audience. And it's a testament to how amazing you are at e-dealer solutions. I love it.
Thank you. I really appreciate that. That means a lot. Thank you. Well, I've seen you put a ton of content out there, and I think this is always something I'm attracted to is, look, we get inspired on a talk. You've got TED Talks they can Google. You've got YouTube channel. She's on TikTok. She's everywhere. So if you like what Janine shares with us today and opens your eyes, I want you to know she's reinforcing it. You just have to look for it online.
Yeah, for free. I'm about to do a newsletter with Substack. I don't know if you've heard of Substack. If you don't have a newsletter, Jen, you got to put one over there. A friend of mine's doing
Okay.
one, Elise Labott. She used to be with CNN. She traveled around the world with Hillary Clinton and
Okay.
Condoleezza Rice, so both sides of the
Mm-hmm.
house.
Mm-hmm.
She always represented the United States and the Middle East and what's going on. And so she's doing this newsletter on Substack. And I'm like, I don't know if I have enough time to do it. And she just totally inspired me. So I'm trying to figure out what am I going to call my newsletter. And we need to get you up on over in Substack too. I never even heard of it. I've now signed up for 8 newsletters in the last 24 hours because I'm like,
Really?
it's a wealth. Well, what happens is the newsletters are free. But if you
Yeah.
want to interact with the people writing the newsletters, it's $5 a
Oh.
month. And I'm like, oh my God. So I signed up for, I think, 6 people yesterday. I'm like, that's going to be $30 a month. And I get to follow these 6 experts and interact with them. So like right now, if I do
Huh.
TikTok, maybe like if you do something on TikTok, I might share my comments or answer back with the video.
Okay.
But I'm traveling just like you. I'm traveling around the country. I'm traveling around the world.
Yep.
I'm busy. So this is going to be like my new home base is going to be over at Substack where I'm going to
Okay.
build a community. Yeah, I'm psyched. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. So
Well, I actually feel like a lot of our listeners could be doing something similarly because,
they
a
should.
lot of, yeah, everybody, I mean, stay connected to your audience. This is how you build loyalty.
Yes, well, listen, Substack it's a listen, I'm only learning about it in the last 24 hours, but it's a newsletter, right? So you write, you could do every day, once a week. But the beautiful part is that you could interact with your community. And now yesterday they dropped this thing where you can do videos. And what I love
Oof.
is it's like-minded people in the same place to get like with the current, like I grabbed some research for us today. I'm like,
Uh-huh.
okay, what are the biggest challenges in your industry right now? What are the biggest challenges in just sales in general? My primary audience now is sales because I say if I can teach cops how to get bad guys to confess. And what they're getting rewarded with is jail. I say I sell jail for a living. If I can get you to confess and reward you with jail, if I can get you to confess, then I can get you to get yeses. So I say,
Yes.
if I can get people to confess, I can get you to yes. So it's the toughest thing to sell is the truth when you're rewarded with jail time. So if you can build that rapport and trust, the biggest challenge right now in your industry and sales in general is that only 54% of us are meeting our quotas. Only
Yeah.
54%. That's crazy to me. That's like a coin flipping a quarter. But I know as a fact, we're all working our butts off.
Mm-hmm.
So how can we be more effective in the same amount of time, if not less time? And that's where body language comes in and understanding ultimately body language leads to emotional intelligence and the top salespeople, the top 10%. I just
Okay.
spoke at the $1 Million Roundtable. I don't know if you've heard of it. It's called MDRT, $1 Million Roundtable. It is the top 1% of the top 1% in sales in insurance. So this is like selling an umbrella on a rainy day, right? So
Mm,
it's the top 1% of the top 1% around the world are invited to go, and I was one of their speakers. Why? Because
amazing.
the top 1% of the top 1% want what's the superpower? What's the
Yeah.
real superpower that's already out there? And today we'll get to hopefully chat about a couple of these techniques that people can use immediately. Like, as a matter of fact, anyone who sent out emails this morning, you're going to wish you didn't send them yet so you could write them the way we're going to talk about writing them.
Tell me, what did you share at that conference that would be relevant to this group?
Well, first of all, that client just yesterday sent me a free copy of my entire presentation. So I've not even downloaded it yet. I'm gonna upload it to Dropbox because it's too big to watch on my phone. But if
Yeah.
you want, Jen, I'll send it to you and you could give it to everybody for free so they could literally see what I
Aw.
did as a keynote speaker.
Okay.
I don't know. So I don't know. So I speak 100 times a year. So I don't have that
Okay.
presentation in front of me. Every
Okay.
presentation's a little different. But
Okay.
I know for sure we'll be talking about some of those things today because I've put together a little mind map of things that I want to share. The big thing here, I'll talk briefly if it's okay with you, before
Sure, sure,
body
sure.
language about words.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm a body language expert, but I'm actually a persuasion and influence expert. And words are critically important with detecting deception, when knowing someone's holding something back. I have a live-in au pair from Italy, and
Mm-hmm.
she is watching, I don't know if you've seen this, but she is watching Drive to Survive on Netflix. Have you seen
Okay.
this?
No.
With the race car drivers. Okay,
Uh-uh.
so it's called the Drive to Survive. She's Italian, so she's loved, she's all about Ferrari, and she has a crush on one of the Ferrari drivers.
Me
So
too.
they're watching. So she's watching that, and I just happen to sit down. I'm taking some notes to talk with you, and she goes, "Oh, Janine," and she rewound this, and she goes, "This guy here is the head. His name is VJ. He is
Mm-hmm.
with Force India. It's one of the teams called Force India. Okay, it's the
Mm-hmm.
Indian team.
Mm-hmm.
Season
Mm-hmm.
one, Netflix, Drive to Survive. Like, I don't get money or any of the kickbacks or anything. It's not like I'm promoting them. I'm just saying this just happened 35 minutes ago. Okay, so she's watching season one. She goes, "Look at this guy, VJ. What are your thoughts?" He's the leader of Force India, this team. He's being interviewed he's in England. Back in
Okay.
India, he's being charged with some financial scams and potentially going to go to jail. So he's
Mm-hmm.
being interviewed here in England, and they're asking, like, "Hey, are you going to sell your team? You've got all this trouble back in India. Are you going to sell your team?" And his answer, my au pair wanted to know, her name's Francesca, I'll call her Frankie,
Mm-hmm.
"Do you think he's telling the truth?"
Yeah.
And I said, "What he just did there is a weak denial." And I wrote it down because I wanted to share it with you guys, because I don't know anything about race car driving, right? Like, it's not even, it's called the Formula One driving or whatever. It's like, I don't know anything about it. And I don't know anything about this guy. But within seconds, I was able to determine. I said, "That's a weak denial. The company's going to be gone. Either he's selling it or it's going to be taken away from him. But
Uh-huh.
that's a weak denial." And she goes, "How? What did you see?" I go, "Okay, let's go over it. So let's first talk about the words." And this is the same. Some of you might be thinking, well, what does this Netflix show, Drive to Survive, have to do with me selling
Mm-hmm.
cars? You
Mm-hmm.
know, well, everything, because we're all
Yeah.
human beings, and sales is sales, whether it's I'm putting bad guys in jail, or you're selling a car, or you're in a race car show on Netflix.
Everything is
So
sales.
it's all sales. So here's what happens. The guy's asked, "Are you going to sell your company? Are you looking for bids?" And this guy, VJ, the owner of this Force India
Mm-hmm.
team, says, "Listen, You're talking about re-speculation, that this is re-speculation. This speculation has been out there forever. If you think me and my team are going to walk around with for sale signs on our chest, it's not happening. And I said, the best answer would be the company's not for
Mm-hmm.
sale. Boom. When
Mm-hmm.
people
Right.
do, I call it smoke screening. In my world, detecting deception is my specialty. That's smoke screening. So, like if I said to you, Jen, is there any reason why two of my friends told me this morning you bought 6 cars? Is there any reason why
Yeah.
I heard that this morning you bought 6 cars? What would you say to me when in fact you didn't buy six
Yeah.
cars? What would you say?
I didn't buy 6 cars.
Yeah, that's it. Boom. I didn't buy 6 cars. So the best answer here would have been what to this guy? The company's not for sale.
No,
I'm
not for
I'm
sale.
not selling the company. The company's not for sale. End of story. But instead he talks this 2 minute smoke
He says too
screen.
much. He over talks.
Yes. He
Mm-hmm.
says I'm
Says
never
too
if
much.
you think he well, he's telling the
Mm-hmm.
truth. This is the deal.
He's, he's
The
he's
words will
he's
betray
trying to
us.
justify it.
Well, he's telling the truth
Sell
because
you
he
on it.
said what?
Okay.
He said, you're not going to see anyone on my team or me walking around with a for sale sign. You're right. We're not going to see that.
Yeah.
So when people are lying to us, they'll often lie by telling us the truth. It's our
Oh
own fault
wow,
that
that was
we
deep.
misinterpret. We
Mm-hmm.
think they're lying. He didn't lie. He actually said, "You're never going to see us walking around with the sign." You're right. Guess what happens? The next episode, the company he's arrested. When he goes back to India,
Jail.
he's arrested and he goes to jail and they steal the company from him. And now they're
Mm-hmm.
looking for a billionaire buyer to buy them out. So he knew that this had come along. Like I would have asked a great follow-up question here. Like I would have said, okay, so you're not wearing the billboards. Let me be very direct. Is your company for sale? Have you thought about what might happen if you get arrested if your company is taken away from you? So
Mm-hmm.
instead, what happens is we get stuck and we think the person has given us this one answer. Oh, he's telling us it's not for sale. That's not what he said. It's like if you're interviewing, let's talk about hiring really quick. And
Mm-hmm.
I know you want to get into body language, but
No, no, no.
you're
This is great.
interviewing someone. A lot of sales, and I don't know if this is true in the car industry, but in general, a
Mm-hmm.
lot of sales, there's a drug component. People are doing a lot of different drugs. I don't know if that's the case here, but in a lot of different sales, people are doing different types of drugs. So
Okay.
say you are interviewing someone, and this is important because you want a drug-free car dealership, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So you're interviewing someone and you ask them, hey, do you do drugs? Even if marijuana is like legal in your state,
Mm-hmm.
do you smoke weed? Do you take edibles? And the person says this. Um, I think people who do drugs are stupid. I think my mother was a drug addict, or I'd have to be an
Mm-hmm.
idiot to be. I'm a single mother with 4 kids. I'd have to be an idiot to do drugs. I'd have to be a fool. I'm barely getting by financial. Last thing I'm going to do is waste money on drugs. They did not answer the
I
question.
know.
Okay, these are what are called weak denials. What
Okay.
we're looking for here is a no. Do you do drugs? No.
No.
Write this down if you're taking notes. The strongest denial is always a no, always. Now you can justify the no and say, no, I have 2 relatives that are drug addicts, so it's not something I would do. Now, some people might say O.J. Simpson. O.J. Simpson was asked, I'm dating myself now. Some of you don't even know who he is, but O.J. Simpson was asked, did you own Bruno Magli's shoes? And the reason this is important is because there were Bruno Magli shoe prints at the scene of the crime where his ex-wife
I just lost.
said, I would. Oh,
Oh,
you're there now?
yeah. I just lost you. Wait. Rewind a little bit. Say it again.
Okay. So
The shoes.
O.J. Simpson was asked, did you own Bruno Magli? Do you own Bruno Magli shoes? He said, and the reason this is important, there were Bruno Magli's shoe prints at the scene of the crime where
Okay.
his ex-wife, Nicole, was
Yep.
killed and her friend Ron. And OJ said, if Bruno Magli makes the shoes they showed in court, I would never own those ugly ass shoes. Okay. When someone says to you, I would never is about the future. It
Mm-hmm.
doesn't mean they didn't own them a year ago, 5 years ago. Do you
Oh.
do drugs? I would never do drugs, but they could have been doing heroin in the car just before the interview. And that's it. Drugs. This is my last shot of heroin in between my toes. So pay attention when someone says, I would never do something, is not the same. Did you cheat on me? I would never cheat on you. I'd be stupid to do something like that. Jen, you're gorgeous. You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. So I doesn't mean they didn't cheat on you. That's a weak denial. The strong denial is, are you cheating on me? No.
Mm.
Did you own those shoes, Bruno Magli shoes? No. No, period, is a complete sentence.
Mm.
So I wanted to just talk a little bit about that, about listening clearly to the words that people are using. One more thing with words. Well, two more things with words, and we'll go into body language if it's okay, because I know you have some questions for me.
You're good.
But two more things on words are this. One is there are words that have hidden meaning, and one of those words is the word actually.
Mm-hmm.
If I said to you, Jen, did you buy the blue car or the red truck? And you say, actually,
Actually, I
Janine,
did.
I bought the red truck. As opposed to what? We know. Did you buy the blue car or the red truck? Actually, I bought the red truck. We know what the two things are. There's a red car involved here and a blue
Right.
truck. When you are talking in sales and you go to sell someone that whatever, like what's my truck? I have a truck. I have a red truck. I have oh my God, a Nissan. I have a Nissan Titan. Okay. It's a Nissan Titan truck. And you go, Janine, um, did you buy the Nissan truck? I know you were thinking of getting a truck. Did you buy the Nissan truck? And I go, actually, I did. As opposed to what? Actually means we're comparing two things. You don't know. So what you should say here is as opposed to what? What else were you considering other than the truck? Right? So when someone says, when you're
Mm.
like, hey, do you like this vehicle you're looking at? Do you like this car right here that you're looking at? And they go, actually, I like it. Be careful of assuming what the other part of that scenario is. You need to say as opposed to what. They sat in that car over there to the left, then they sat in this car on the right, and you go, do you like this car? And they go, actually, I like it a lot. Don't assume they're comparing that to the other vehicle they were in a second ago. We don't know unless they verbally tell us. Anytime someone says actually, your kids say actually, your wife, your husband, actually, I had a great day today. Oh, as opposed to what? You always have to say as opposed to what. We don't know what they're comparing it unless we ask the question. And this
Mm.
is a lot of people get in trouble here because their brain in sales, because their brain thinks they figured it out. But maybe as opposed to working with you yesterday, because yesterday they didn't like your attitude. Like we don't know, until you ask as opposed to what. They're thinking of as something else.
So it's clarifying.
It's clarifying.
You've got to
But what
clarify.
but we don't. If you
We
say,
for
if
face
someone said, Janine,
value
did you like meeting Jen today? And I go, actually I did enjoy meeting Jen.
as opposed to what?
Yes, because most people will assume that I wasn't excited to come and be interviewed by you or I've met you
Mm.
before. We don't know. Everyone is assuming. So pay attention where it's at kind of meaning. The last one is, and I just use this with a client.
Mm-hmm.
A client of mine, I make money as a keynote speaker, as a motivational speaker. You have to pay me up front before I get on an airplane.
Mm-hmm.
Okay?
Mm-hmm.
That's my deal. Because once
Mm-hmm.
I speak, I can't take it back. It's not like a
Right.
car that could be repossessed,
Yeah.
at 3:30 in the morning when you sleep. And you hear the tow truck pulling it out of your driveway.
Have you been
Like
here
once
before?
well, you're snuggling with your oldest son. No, so I can't take it back. It's gone. So this one client, they begged me. They're like, please, Janine, we will pay you. And it was so particular. 17 days after your event. I said, great. 17 days have come and gone,
Mm.
and the check is not here. And I'm like, you know what? Shame on me. I gave them an exception. They begged. They're like, sorry, we're not getting the money from our client, which means we then have to pay you. So here's what I did. And this is like an hour before your call, before I watched this race car thing.
Mm.
I wrote this in an email. And guess what? Just before our call, I got an email back from them and they said the money will be transferred today.
Mm-hmm.
How did I get that done? Is the word because is the most influential word in the English language. Do you know this, Jen? Do you know about the word
No.
because?
No.
So a study was done at Harvard. This is back in the day. It's been duplicated, where they cut in line at a photocopy machine.
Okay.
And they had three groups of people. And one group said, hey, do you mind if I cut in line? I have to make copies. Can I swear on your show or no?
Of course you can. This is the
Okay.
car
So
business.
Okay, good. So I was going to say, no shit, Sherlock. Yeah, we're all making copies. That's why we're aligned. Okay.
Yep.
So I'm a swearing Christian. So no shit, Sherlock. Can I cut in line? I have to make copies. The next group said, can I cut in line because I'm in a rush? The
Mm-hmm.
third group said, can I cut in line because I need to make copies?
Mm-hmm.
Again, the dumb one, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those second two, though, because I'm in a rush and because I need to make copies, use the word because.
Mhm.
And guess what? Because I'm in a rush, 94% of the time people let them
Rolled
cut in
over.
line,
Yeah.
right? 94%. But because I have to make copies, the dumb one, it's like, did you
Mhm.
feed the fish? Because the fish need to be fed. It's so
Right.
stupid. I
It's like,
thought the Dr. Seuss one.
mhm.
But because, can I cut in line because I have to make copies? Using the word because, guess what? 93% compliant.
Hmm.
So the word because, and I talk about this in one of my TED Talks, taps into the part of the brain where decisions are made. So when you're writing your emails or your text messages, always slap two becauses in there.
Hmm.
You're letting them know, because you're letting them know a decision needs to be made here. And the next thing is use I'm wondering. So from law enforcement, we do something called verbal judo.
Okay.
Verbal judo is getting you to comply with me. So think about judo, right? I don't know much. I don't know really anything about judo other than you use the other person's energy against them. You use their momentum against them. So you get to punch me, I move out of the way, and you fall down, right? So judo. So verbal judo gets them to be part of the equation. So instead of me, I'm going to give you an example right now with Jen.
Okay. Okay.
You at home, the listener. So I say to Jen, I could say to Jen, hey Jen, where do you live, by the way?
I'm in Denver.
Okay, but Denver. Okay. I could say, hey Jen, when I come to Denver next week, we should get together for lunch. I'm going to be in an event in Denver. We should get together for lunch. That's option A. Here's option B. Jen, because you are a wealth of information and because this is my favorite podcast I've ever been interviewed on, and
Mhm.
because I feel that we're both authentic people, and
Mhm.
because I'm just pulled towards you, I'm wondering. So you use I'm wondering
Mm.
is verbal judo. I'm
Mhm.
wondering when I'm in town next week in Texas, I'm wondering if you'd be interested in getting together for dinner or lunch or a drink.
This is so money. I love this.
Okay,
I
so
feel
now
it.
I'm assigning you a trait. You always have to give them the compliment, stroke the ego. So
Mhm.
because you're so awesome
Mhm.
and because you have a wealth of information, because I have
Mhm.
information,
And these are
I'm
facts.
wondering, yeah, I'm wondering if when
They're
I'm in town next
feels.
week, you might think, now here's an embedded command, if you know about embedded commands.
Oh.
I'm wondering if you might think it's a great idea for us to get together. So I'm giving you an embedded command to think it's a great idea to get together versus, hey, when I'm in town next week, you want to get together? Want to meet up?
Yeah. I'm wondering
So
if
most
you
people's
think it's a good
instinct is to
idea.
say no. Yeah, I'm wondering if you think it's a good idea for us to get together. So the embedded command is you think it's a good idea. Embedded command are messages that are hidden inside the language that we're using. Like I've written a couple books, but you can get my books for free on at the library. If I was here to sell books, I'm not here to sell books, but if I was that my books are like 10 years old. But if I was here to sell books, I could say don't feel pressured to buy my book on Amazon.
I, are you
Are you
there?
there?
Oh, there you
You
are.
there?
Mhm.
All right.
Okay.
Can you hear me? Okay, sorry. Someone was buzzing in. But if I wanted you to go buy my books, I'd say you're going to get everything you need with me and Jen today. Don't feel pressured to go to Amazon and buy my book. Now, all of a sudden, everyone subconsciously is going to go over there and want to go buy my book. Like, yeah, I'm not even trying to sell that book. Like, I need
Mhm.
to do a new book. I'm working on it. I'm working on it.
No
So
pressure.
but the power of embedded commands, we don't hear the word don't. So
Mm.
if you say to someone, don't stress out about the finances, don't stress out about how much money you can put down on this car. You've just said stress out about how much money you can put down on this car.
Hmm. So what should they say?
They should say the opposite. They could say, hey, rest assured, we're going to be able to make this happen. No
Mhm.
matter how much money you have, we're gonna make this work.
Mhm.
Don't get overly excited because uh, you could use your don'ts to work for you. Don't get overly excited because once you get into my book or once you get into this car, you're never going to want to leave it. You're going to be doing all your work inside the car. So don't get too excited about buying this car because you're never going to want to go outside of the car. You're going to want to be in it constantly. So use your embedded commands to help you.
Wonderful. Yeah, that's really exciting. I gotta tell you, Janine, a lot of times we don't think about the impacts of words at this level. There's just no way. I mean, this is so enlightening. It's fun too. And it really is a shocker because, Words matter. Words are everything. Words showcase your identity, your character. It's what people
Yes.
have to put you together and be like, that's a trusted source. That's not a trusted source. And if you could be
Yes.
more clever and thoughtful about the words and the impact that they have, then you're going to be a lot more successful. Top 1%ers
Oh yeah.
probably are the ones dialed in.
Well, think about it. So I want you to, so I've never sold cars for a living, but if I were there and I saw someone looking at a car or truck, in my case, I'm going to use two becauses and I'm wondering. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So two becauses and one I'm wondering, at least two. You could do
Mm-hmm.
more than two. So I might go up to you if you were looking at the car, Jen, or you at home, and I might say, hey, because, like, for instance, my truck, I got my truck 2 years ago and you couldn't get a truck.
Right.
It was literally the only, I had to buy the
You got
one
what you
truck
got.
that was there. Yeah, I got
Yeah.
what I got. They
Mm-hmm.
even charged me an extra fee because it was like,
Right.
and I teach this ship for a living, and I
Yeah.
got it down, like, but they wanted to like
Yeah. You
charge me an
probably
extra
paid an addendum.
5,000.
You paid over
Yeah,
MSRP. Yeah.
yeah, because I wanted this one truck. It had leather seats. It has this like Mac Daddy
Mm-hmm.
sunroof thing that I never use. Um, all this stuff. So if you saw me looking at that truck, you might go up to me because we only have one of these trucks on the lot, this Nissan Titan Platinum Reserve. It's the Mac Daddy of all the Nissan Titans, right? So the Platinum Reserve, because we only have one, I'm wondering if you want to take it for a spin because we're not getting any more in. And if this happens to be the one you fall in love with, embedded command, you fall in love with, you might want to take it for a ride. I'm wondering if that's something you'd be interested in. Okay, so you're going to slap two becauses in and you're going to put a wondering in there. And I
Mm-hmm.
use them all the time. So anyway, so that's what I did this morning. I wrote
On your email.
to my email. Yeah, I
Mm-hmm.
wrote to this client that's not paying me, and I said, so I was due the money on the 18th. So now
Mm-hmm.
it's 12 days late. And I'm saying, I'm wondering at the 12-day late mark with the holidays approaching, well, I said it because I've worked with you numerous years and because I know your word means something.
Mm.
I'm wondering what I can do to expedite this final payment because with the holidays here, I want to make sure that you and I remain in good standing. I
And
mean,
then
I
you
teach communication classes. So are you going to really be a speaker bureau that's going to screw over a communication speaker that travels around the world? Like your word has to mean something. Make it. By the way,
I
this is one of the
agree.
things. The top five biggest challenges in sales. Number one are leads. Number two,
Mm.
closing deals. 54% of us meet the quota. Number three is adapting to technology. Number
Mm.
four is market competition. And number five is customer retention. And this
Mm-hmm.
is customer retention.
Mm-hmm.
Mistakes are inevitable. You are going to make mistakes. We are all going to make mistakes. How do you make it right? I have three
Mm-hmm.
sons, ages 9, 10, and 7, 18. And anytime they make a mistake, they broke a picture frame,
Mm-hmm.
they spilled food on the couch, whatever it is, I taught them, I'm so sorry, Mom, I'm sorry. What can I do to make this right? Sometimes I'll just say, you saying that is enough. Or
I
I'll say,
agree.
well, you got to sweep up that glass, buddy. You got to sweep it up. We'll go to the store up the street, pick out a new frame the same size, and you're going to put the picture back in the frame. So, what can I do to make this right is a big talking about words before we dive into this body language world. I know it's simple, but customer retention, people blow it all the time. I have a
Mm.
friend looking for a truck. It's so interesting. I have a friend that loves my truck so much. She's looking for a truck. And do you know what? No one, where I bought my Nissan Titan in Springfield, Virginia, no one has stayed in touch with me. Like, how about 6 months later, a year later? If I was the salesperson, Janine, how you liking the Nissan Titan Platinum Reserve? You bought the only one on the lot. How's it going? Boom. Why aren't you staying in touch? I mean, it's a $75,000 truck. So a
No, I'm pretty sure
seventy-five
I could
thousand
sell
dollar
you a
truck.
new car because you didn't get exactly what you wanted. Do you know what I mean? Being in
Yeah,
those
see?
COVID times, we need to call you, stay in touch, and say, "Hey, I wanted to let you know, Janine. We got 20 new Titans, and you still like the? Is the car still meeting your lifestyle needs?
Yeah, no, see,
You
I
probably
wanted
didn't get the
blue.
color you wanted because we only had one. Yeah, you
Yes,
wanted blue.
I wanted blue.
I'm gonna
And if
send
it
you a
costs
picture.
me no extra money, listen, if it costs me no extra money, if you take my Nissan Titan
Hmm.
Platinum Reserve and you turn it and I turn it in and it costs me an extra $80 a month, right, to get the new truck, but my dream color, which is blue, boom, you don't think I would do it for an extra $80? I'm impulsive. Number one, clearly, I walked out with the truck that day.
Yeah,
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 no one's keeping in touch with me. It's
I
money you're
agree.
leaving on the table.
Well, you have to
So
care
anyway,
and you have to have a process and you have to understand the value of people. If you don't understand the value of people, then you throw them out like trash and you don't care. It's a sale. I got my money. Bye. But if
right.
you are in for the long run and you're building a career and a book of business and you're building community and you care about people, then you're going to stay in touch with Janine and you're going to find a way to sell her another car this year.
Well, want to know something interesting, Jen? And we're going to talk about this with body language, awareness, reading interest and engagement, all this demonstrating empathy, like all the benefits, by the way, of body language in sales. Oh my God, crucial role in sales. It's all about conveying messages. It helps you build
Mm.
rapport, build trust, increase your credibility. You foster
Yes.
connections better. You
Yes.
can gauge the reactions of the other people. It enhances your overall success by decoding body language and understanding emotional intelligence and builds your business relationships. Guess what? My son's 18. He loves my Nissan Titan so much. My 18-year-old son doesn't want to drive, wants to go to college in a school that has public transportation until he
Hmm.
dated Amanda. Amanda broke his heart 4 months ago, and Amanda is now dating a boy who has a license and a car.
Mm.
And
Mm.
in comes my son Angus, and he goes, "That's it. I want a driver's license." So now he has his permit. We're now driving around with this permit. I go, "Dude, what kind of car you want?" He goes, "I want a truck. I love your truck. I want a truck." So right now I'm in the business of looking for a truck for my
Mm.
18-year-old son, but I have a $75,000 truck in my driveway and the person who sold it to me never stayed in touch.
Yeah, I know. That's what I just said. It's like, you never know what you can gain by staying in touch with people because look, one thing I know for certain, you're getting another car. And if
Yeah.
you and you know people, you've got neighbors, you know
Yeah. Oh my
people,
God.
you've got family, and if I'd have done my job with my proper needs assessment, I'd have found out you had a potential driver in
Son.
your
Yeah.
household.
Know what else you would have found out, Jen? I run a meetup group here in Alexandria, Virginia with 1,300 people, and it's called Alexandria Over 40 Fun as Fuck Group. And it's F
Fun as
asterisk
fuck.
CK. People can join it for free because I do online classes on how to spot toxic people before it's too late with a
Okay.
guy who worked at the FBI behavioral unit. But yeah, Alexandria Over 40 Fun as Fuck Group. And I have over 1,300 people in my group. And you think those
Ex-
people buy vehicles?
Of course they do.
I'm the
Yeah.
person you want to stay. If you did due diligence during your sales, and this
Mm.
guy did, his name was Jimmy. He asked all this stuff. He knew all this stuff. I told him, dude, you should be part of my meetup group. He's over 40. Boom, over 40 people. Let me tell you what they have. Kids that start to drive. So now you've
Yes.
got a husband, a wife, or a
Mm.
ex-husband, an
Yeah.
ex-wife, and that,
Mhm.
and that, that's a sidebar. But body language and emotional intelligence is critical if you really want to build your business relationships and enhance overall success.
Yeah.
Or even if you just want to do that one sale, one and done, great. This will help you build that rapport and trust as you quit this dealership you're working for and go work for another one down the line, up the street.
So, what are the key body language indicators that salespeople should be mindful of?
Oh my gosh, there's so many.
Give me your top three.
Okay. One is what are you saying without saying a word, and what are they saying without saying a word? It's two different worlds. So
Mm.
one is if you think, and this is a pet peeve of mine, if you think when I go to buy a vehicle, and by the way, I have a live-in au pair, so I have 3 cars in my house.
Mm.
So if you think keeping your headset in your ear when you're talking to me is a
Uh,
good idea, I'm letting you know it's not a good idea.
or
It
swiping
says to
your
me,
your Apple Watch,
yeah, it's that's number
looking at
one.
your
Are
phone.
you actually engaged in looking at me? That's step one.
Yeah.
Are you looking at me? Like
Mhm.
having a conversation as if I'm a real person. Okay.
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
that's number one. You have to look at me to spot, is there authentic interest here, and engage.
So, would you
Can you
say
spot it?
would you say you got to take it a little bit further? Like you need to hold that eye contact. You need to stay connected. Like holding it. Sometimes people they look away, they look at other things, but holding it is a thing.
Yes. Well, let me back up a little bit. Eye
Okay.
contact, yes. By the way, eye contact 80% is too much. And they actually call it used car sales. Used car sales eye contact level is
Wait,
80%.
what?
So in the United States of America, sometimes people use too much eye contact. It's 60 to 65% is appropriate. So you don't want to be
Okay.
staring at me the whole time. As a
Mhm.
matter of fact,
That
I
might
did
be
a
a creeper.
show. Yeah, I did a show for the Discovery Channel. They did a documentary and they sent me undercover at car dealerships for the, oh no, it was for the Today Show. We did an
Okay.
undercover. We went to 6 car dealerships and the owners of the car dealerships were in on it because they wanted us to, it was like secret shopping to see how their people were
Mm-hmm.
doing. And there was one that was like that was so good. Like I felt like the guy was like my uncle. You know,
Mm,
he was so friendly and kind. So eye contact is 60 to 65%.
okay.
85 is considered intimidating. It's overselling. Okay, it's
Mm,
overselling. And so that's eye contact's important, of course. The other thing is paying attention to your body language. Is it open? So we have 3 power zones: our neck dimple, like right at our neck, your belly button. So you don't want to, of course, this is obvious, but don't cross your arms. And then get your hands out of your pockets. I
mm-hmm.
would say 9 out of 10 times I see at a car dealership, the hands are in the pockets. So get
Mm-hmm.
your hands out of your pockets because when you put your hands in your pockets, this is what happens. It's perceived that you're holding something back and you can't be trusted.
Mm-hmm.
The reason we do handshakes back in the day, it's to show that you didn't have a weapon in your hand.
Really?
And yes, so we want to have your hands out of your pockets. You can, if you want to hook your thumbs on there, that's called hooking. You can hook your thumb on your pocket, but have your hand kind of dangling out. By the way, Jen, and you at home, a handshake is, write this down. A handshake is equivalent to 3 hours of building rapport.
Wow.
A handshake is equivalent to 3 hours of building rapport just by talking, being on a Zoom call, and I know maybe we'll get to that as well.
But
So
does it have to be a
shaking the
certain
hand.
kind of handshake? Because I'm sure there's a whole class on that because everybody shakes hands
Yes,
differently and it feels differently. Like when sometimes we do the
yes,
double, the hug.
yes,
I would,
yes.
is that like creeper? Is that like old guy? Or is
Okay,
that
let's
like
talk about the
endearing?
hug. The hand hug. So that
Yeah.
hand hug, what Jen's talking about is when one hand, I'm shaking your hand, you put your other hand and cup it over.
Yeah.
You should not hand hug me unless you can physically hug me. So
Mm-hmm.
if you can't physically hug me, then you shouldn't hand hug me. Now down the south, that's okay because you could physically hug everybody down the south, right? Hi,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Lorraine. This is Fred
Yeah.
Wells, Jennifer's husband. You can hug
Mm-hmm.
Fred Wells and Jennifer,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like immediately.
Yeah.
I'm from Boston. We're not hugging. Like, you don't go up and hug strangers. So you
No,
shouldn't
that's weird.
hand hug if you
Mm-hmm.
can't physically hug.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if someone gives you the upper hand, which is I take your hand, Jen, and I twist your hand. So my hand is on top and your palm of your hand is facing the ceiling. My palm of my hand is facing the ground. I've got the upper hand
Control.
on you.
Right.
That person. So say I'm thinking about buying my truck, my Nissan
Yeah.
Titan Platinum Reserve,
Mm-hmm.
right? So I come in and I shake your hand and my hand is on top. Don't try to twist my hand. You know I'm all about ego. So how you're going to build rapport is to say very powerful things about me. Oh, I see you have the Honda minivan. Oh, great
Mm-hmm.
choice.
Mm-hmm.
Great choice. Oh my gosh, that could sell like hotcakes today. Great choice. Out of all the minivans, that's the best one. Right? You're
Mm-hmm.
going to stroke my ego because
Mm-hmm.
I've got that upper palm gesture. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Hold on a second. Guys! Oh my gosh, I got a dog barking at me. Oh my God, sorry. This
You're
is this
good.
is what happens. Oh, I have a lab, a yellow lab. Hold on, I don't know if they can hear me. Okay, yeah, they put her up. They put her up.
Okay.
Okay, sorry about that. And so handshakes, that's
Mm-hmm.
very, very important how you shake a hand. Stop shaking a woman's hand with like a light little wet fish hand, which
Yeah.
happens a lot. Men will shake our hands like this because their grandfathers taught them that's how to do it, or their
Right,
fathers.
right, right.
No, we want a nice solid handshake. And what
Mm-hmm.
that means is the amount of pressure that you would iron your shirt with.
Mm-hmm.
So back in the day when we would iron our
Okay.
shirts, right? So that's the
Mm-hmm.
kind of pressure you want, not the kind of pressure that you're opening up your hose nozzle after winter break. You know, you shouldn't be breaking my fingers.
Yeah, yeah.
All right.
That's a little
So
aggressive.
eye contact, you look from the eyebrows down to the nose and back up. It's called the upside down triangle. So
Hmm.
you're going to look from eyebrow to the nose and back up when you're shaking someone's hand and you're talking to them.
Hmm.
Let's see, what else? Oh, a handshake is super important. And we don't hear your name. Even Tim Ferriss talks about this in the 4 Hour Work Week, which also came out like 15, 20 years ago, is how is your name memorable? So my last name is Driver, Janine Driver. So I'm thinking about even my newsletter here called In the Driver's Seat, right?
Mhm.
So
Mhm.
sales techniques for in the driver's seat.
Mhm.
So with Janine Driver. So if I met you, I'd be like, hi, I'm shake your hand. I'm like, my name is Janine, last name Driver, like putting you in the driver's seat. You know, if
Yeah.
I can help in any way, what's your like little memorable thing that we remember you, you know?
Yeah. I see a lot of people do this, and actually they become top performers when they have sort of a slogan, a little something about their name that's catchy or it's funny or it's just it you know what? It's memorable.
Yeah, you know
And
what
you're
I say?
saying
I
that's
go,
highly effective.
oh, very effective. Tim Ferriss talks about it in the 4 Hour Work Week, New York Times bestselling book, translated in I think like over 100 languages. Made Tim Ferriss a multi-billionaire, probably
Yeah.
multi-millionaire for sure. Um, and it's memorable. So for me, I say, "Hey, Janine Driver." I would always tell my mother, like a taxi driver. My mother would say, "Taxi driver? Why not like a limousine driver?" And I go, "What's the difference? We're driving people crazy either way, mom." And so I'll go into a hotel and I leave the next morning. I'm like, Janine Driver, how was your night? They remember Driver or Miss
Yeah.
Driver. Hey, Miss
Mhm.
Driver, how was your night today? Because I always say my little
Mhm.
shtick.
Mhm. Mhm.
Okay.
Mhm.
So reading body language. So when it comes to you and to others, now let's talk. So we talked about you, open posture, neck dimple, belly button, and the
Mhm.
bottom part. I call it the naughty
Hands
bits, like where
out.
your groin, hands out. We want to see palms up. Palms up is sincerity.
Lean in. Lean in.
So you can lean in, but usually at this point, if you're meeting them, you're probably standing. But if you're
Yeah.
sitting, you could lean in. That's irrelevant. You know, a lot of people talk about leaning in expresses interest, leaning back expresses disinterest. That's a myth.
Yeah.
I'm going to have to talk about
Okay.
this in my next book. That's a myth because people who lean forward and back, just to let you
Yeah.
know, we all have what's called a behavioral fingerprint. And
Mm.
people who lean, if I was talking to you, and while we're talking, Jen, you lean forward and back, forward and back. I'm not saying, ooh, she's interested. She's no longer interested. Ooh, she's interested. She's not. Forget that. Leaning forward and back connects with people. It's a behavioral fingerprint. It connects with people who think about the future. So if I was in car sales
Mm.
and I saw someone kind of rocking, leaning forward, leaning back, leaning forward, leaning back, and I'm seeing this at least 4 times, if not more,
Mhm.
I know this person thinks about mistakes they've made in the past and what they're going to do differently in the future. And how I would sell the car to the person who's leaning forward and back is I would talk about the longevity and the value of this truck 4 to 10 years from now.
Ah, the
I would
future.
I would talk about the future. Why
Yeah.
is this truck? So I looked at another Nissan truck there, right? And they had a
Mhm.
small in the back seat. I don't know the name of it, but the small seat. My son's 6'1". So the back seat, it was 4 doors, but the back seat didn't have a lot of leg room. And I drive from DC to Boston, and if I'm driving DC to Boston in a truck, I need the back to be comfortable. Okay.
Mhm.
So you want to, if you're talking to someone like me, who by the way does lean forward and back a lot, you would want to tell me why I should go for the Platinum Reserve over the other truck.
Mhm.
Then you're going to tell me because, Janine, I want you to imagine. You said you'd go back and forth to Boston, right? How long does that take you? 8 to 12 hours. So 8 to 12 hours. Okay, I want you to put your son, and your son's 6'1". Imagine, how often do you go? I go 3 times a year. Okay, so each way, so that's 6 trips. So that's what, 380 miles, 6 trips. You're going to have this vehicle maybe for the next 6 years, maybe even beyond that, 10 years. You know, which of the two vehicles are you going to want for the next 10 years to do these trips
Right.
back and forth? So you're
Yeah.
going to talk about the future for me. So leaning
Love
forward
that.
and back, I think is a myth on interest and disinterest. Yes, when people are interested, could they lean forward? Yes, but it doesn't mean everyone who leans forward is interested. No.
Okay.
And vice versa with leaning back.
You have a customer that's standing there with their arms crossed. What should you do?
All right, crossed arms, another myth. So crossed arms, we think bored, disinterested, defensive. Okay, they're
Mhm.
blocking.
Yeah.
Yes, it could potentially be those things. But the truth of what crossed arms is, Jen, I'm so glad you brought this up,
Mhm.
is that crossed arms is using both sides of your brain. Lots of research on this. So
Mhm.
crossed arms, my right brain, which is intuitive and takes risks and trusts my gut, controls the left side of my body. My left brain, which likes facts and figures and logic, controls the right side of my body. So when people cross their arms, they're using both sides of their brain, their right
Uh-huh.
brain and their left brain. As a matter of fact, research shows that you're 30% more likely to solve a difficult task or problem with crossed arms. So when I'm speaking on a stage and I see crossed
Hmm.
arms, I know those people aren't going
They're
anywhere.
listening. Right.
So there was a study done where half the group were asked to relax and answer math problems on a computer. You answer a problem, relax your hands. The other group, same amount of math problems. Come on in. After every question, cross your arms. The people with crossed arms stayed in the room 30% longer and
Hmm.
had an increase corresponding to that same amount, 30% increase higher in their score. People who relaxed, they quit 30% sooner. So
Huh.
I love crossed arms. I think crossed arms are a great thing to see in a sales environment because
How
you're
about
using
that?
both sides of their brain. So now this means for you as the salesperson, you need to, because both sides of their brain are engaged, you might want to talk about both sides of why this car or this brand, whatever it is, Honda, Nissan, Toyota, whatever it is. So why your brand, both logically, what is the research and what are the emotions behind it? Because by crossed arms, I'm using both sides of my brain. Does that make sense?
Yeah, all the sense. In fact, that really busts out some myths that we've been thinking all along. I mean, literally, this guy I'm dating told me yesterday. He's like, "Why are you crossing your arms?" And I was like,
Yeah.
"Why is that like negative? Because I'm not feeling negative. I'm like listening
Yeah.
intently. I'm with you." So I'm like reflecting back on just yesterday, thinking to myself, "Yeah, I mean, times change, people. Things change." And we have to be open-minded to thinking about things that maybe we were taught in the past that aren't necessarily true today. I
Well, my
mean,
Angela,
we're
we used to eat
influenced.
margarine, by the way. For the love of God, margarine's like
My
plastic, like so
I
butter. They used
read
to say
that word
butter
as
is
well.
bad. Butter is bad. We used to eat margarine,
That's
like
so true. I grew up on margarine, and then remember learning, why would you ever eat that junk? That's like
yeah, it's
cancer.
plastic. It's
You
like
have to eat
plastic.
butter. Now
Yeah,
that
butter is
it
better.
still stuck with me.
Yeah, so
I would
just like
never buy
the
margarine.
just like margarine, like what we used to be told was true. It's
Yeah.
not like this all of a sudden became reality. No, we all of a
Mhm.
sudden discovered it. Maya Angelou, the great poet, said, when you know better, you do better. So
Mm.
we now know when you cross arms, you engage both sides of your brain. They've used fMRIs. They've seen that both sides of the brain are engaged. They've done studies. They know you're 30% more tenacity, more
Mhm.
determined with crossed arms. If say you're the owner of a dealership, I guarantee you when you're thinking about what you're going to do for
Yeah,
2024
you
with
cross your
customer
arms with that
engagement,
exact thinking.
yes,
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
cross your
We've
think
seen
about
it.
so my
I've seen
background,
this.
Jen, and you at home is
Mhm.
my background's law enforcement. So I come in at this firearms trafficking was my specialty. So I come into a firearms trafficking situation and I come in or there's a scene of a crime, you see the cop, what does he do or what does she do? She crosses her arms, she looks at the marble light on the ground. There's a gun over
Mhm.
there, there's a dead
Thinking.
body there.
Mm,
Like, is she
yeah.
bored, disinterested,
Assessing.
defensive?
Mhm.
Then body language wise, crossed arms, I tell people if you're going to go buy a truck or
Your
a car
intent.
to
Your
cross your
intent.
arms.
Yeah.
Crossed arms increases your likelihood that you'll negotiate how quickly I can get this vehicle and what price I can get it for.
Mm,
Because when people see crossed arms, we think it's defensive and we're going to lose the
mhm.
sale, so we begin to negotiate.
Oof.
So
Yeah, but
stop
really, what
negotiating
you're
there.
saying is we're close.
Yeah, yeah, they're using both sides of their brain. They're thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yes, could they be defensive? Yes. They could also be thinking, holy shit, this price is a lot better than the last place I went up the street.
Uh-huh.
So
So
Sheehy Honda or whatever,
yeah. So
So
maybe yeah, you start in on the questions and start clarifying, but know that, you could actually be pressing forward and more soft closing questions at this point.
yes, 100%. And the question to ask in my world is
Mhm.
MIW. MIW is maybe I'm wrong here. So I
Mm.
would say to you, Jen, maybe I'm wrong here. It seems to me that you're thinking about it.
I literally love this. Mhm.
MIW, maybe I'm wrong here. So anytime you see a hot spot is when someone changes their behavior. You're going to do MIW, right? So maybe I'm
Mhm.
wrong here. It seems to me, or it feels to me, or it looks to me that you have some questions here. Maybe I'm wrong here. I'm feeling like you have a couple questions. And then wait. WAIT. Wait stands for why am I talking? So
Mm.
you wait. Just ask the question. Just wait. 30 seconds of silence can go a long way. Can go a long way.
Mm.
Listen,
Okay.
tons of research on this. All right, so let's go. Let's see. What else do we have?
What about
Reading,
nodding your
interest, and
head?
engagement. Okay, yeah.
What about
So
nodding
head
your head?
nods.
Heading, yeah. Let me tell you something. I'm
Yes.
always curious about this with myself. Um, I nod my head literally all day. It's so annoying and I can't stop it. I'm in front of crowds every day. I'm in front of people every day or even when people are just talking to me. Like I find myself like and I'm excited, I'm intent. Okay, what's your take?
Okay, so it all depends. It all depends on the speed of the head nodding, because the speed of the head nodding can indicate different things in different contexts. So
Okay.
generally, faster head nodding is associated with agreement,
Hmm.
enthusiasm, or eagerness. Okay, so take a
Oof.
note. So
That's my
faster
middle
head
names.
nodding.
Those are all
Okay,
three of my
so
middle names.
Imagine, so yeah, imagine nodding your head kind of fast. Okay,
Hmm.
agreement, enthusiasm, and eagerness. Like, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So this is good, right? So the faster the head nods, agreement, enthusiasm, eagerness, right?
Mm-hmm.
It signals positive response or acknowledgement. This faster head nodding.
Mm-hmm.
Conversely, slow or hesitant head nods, do a nice slow head nod,
Mm-hmm.
indicates uncertainty, doubt, or cautious agreement.
Mm-hmm.
All right, so it's important to consider other nonverbal cues, not just the head nodding, their facial expression, their body posture, in conjunction with that speed of the head nodding. You know
Uh-huh.
what I mean? To accurately interpret what the message is. And cultural
Okay.
differences can make it can influence this as well.
Sure.
So so fast head nodding, good. Slow head nodding, bad.
Oh, you are making me feel so good about myself. I always feel like I look like a moron because I look back on my videos. I'm like, why am I can never stop shaking my head. And
Well,
even
now
if
you
I
know.
try to get conscious about it, just I'm like, God, I'm doing it again. Stop. I still find myself back into it. I'm always really super dialed into my audience, people, and so anyway, that makes me feel good. Okay, tell us more about the head nod because I always find that even in sales, like it's important to get in here and start agreeing. You're agreeing just with your body language, not just your words, but you're letting them know, hey, I respect you. I'm listening to you. I'm an active listener. And how do I do that without saying that? I feel like you need a little head nod, a little, yeah,
Well,
okay, I'm with you.
listen, I'm quick on my feet and I like cheeky expressions, so I just wrote a cheeky expression. I didn't know we'd talk about head nods today, but here's my cheeky expression, okay?
Okay.
Fast, put on the gas. So this is head nodding. If they're nodding fast, put on the gas. Slow might be a no-go.
So, okay. Okay.
All right.
Okay.
So
Yep.
that's how I like little cheeky expressions, because when you're in
It
the
helps me
actual
remember.
meeting, yeah, you're not going to have your notes in front of you. So think fast, put on the gas. Fast, it looks
Okay.
like it's a go. So fast, put on the gas. Slow might be a no go. So you've
Okay.
still got to do some more, asking questions, getting some more
Okay.
questions. Um,
Okay.
eye contact. If all of a sudden they do something called eye blocking. Eye blocking is where they've given you about 65% of the eye contact. You're watching them, you're having a
Hmm.
good conversation.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden they start adjusting their baseball hat. They start looking away. They start
Yes.
talking and their eyes are closed a little bit longer. These are eye blocking. And again, I talk about this in one of my TED Talks. An eye block is like the screensaver on your cell phone. They don't want you to know what they're thinking about in that moment. So
Hmm.
again, MIW, maybe I'm wrong here. It seems to me you might be thinking about something, or you might
Hmm.
have some questions. Some questions.
Yeah. And then
So pay
wait.
attention to those eye blocking, because they're holding something back. Another one is when their lips lock. This is a big one. When we don't like what we see or hear, our lips disappear. So if you pull your lips in,
Hmm.
hold on, I'm gonna see if I can get my camera to show you.
Uh-huh. Hmm. Hmm.
My hair. Don't put my people listening at home. I have an eye infection in my left eye, so I look like shit today. So I don't have my camera on. We're gonna do
You're
another
good.
interview. We'll throw the camera on. We'll throw it on. Is a lip lock. So
Hmm.
a lip lock, when we lock our lips, right? So a lip roll is emotional control, we say. A lip roll is emotional control. So
Okay.
you're asking them if they're ready to buy this truck or trade in their vehicle or whatever it is that you're doing for your clothes. And the lips disappear. They're telling you these are what I call non-verbal objections. So you
Okay.
think you've overcome all the objections, but yet this is why when we think they're ready to sign on the dotted line, you just spent
Hmm.
2 hours with me, and then I'm like,
Hmm.
I'm not ready to do it. Well, those signs were there all along. You just weren't trained on what to look for yet. And now
Mm.
you know. There's a team of nonverbal objections, a team of them. And one of them is this lip lock, right? When we don't like what we see or hear, lips disappear. So lip roll is emotional control. And the other one is eye blocking. You're looking for eye blocking. The
Okay.
third big one I
Wait,
talk
what's eye
about quite a bit.
blocking?
Eye blocking is where they're adjusting their baseball hat.
Oh, oh, oh.
They give
Okay.
you a decrease in eye contact. They start to rub their forehead and look away, or they're talking
Okay.
to you and
Okay.
their eyes closed like for 2.5 seconds,
Mm.
maybe. So the
Mhm.
TikTok, if people are interested more in eye blocking, because I brought some killers that show eye blocking. Susan Smith, who killed her kids. Um,
Mm.
Scott Peterson killed his pregnant wife. Another guy named Chris Watts. That TED Talk, it's over on YouTube and Ted's website, TED.com, is
Okay.
called ESL, Everyone's Second Language. It's called Decoding the Body Language of Murderers.
Oh, I can't wait to
So
watch.
to
I
get what
actually
you
pulled
want
them
in
up this
life.
morning.
Really? Yeah. So to get what you want in
Yeah.
life, Decoding the Body Language of Murderers, ESL, Everyone's
I've
Second
always wanted
Language.
to do a TED Talk, so you just have done it all.
Oh, make it this year. You could do it. Let's do
Oh,
it.
thanks.
I'll do one with
Okay.
you. My
Uh,
goal is I'm trying to do one every year. I didn't do one in 2023, but
really?
um,
Okay, we only have 1 month left.
no,
Okay, just kidding.
we'll
I
get
know,
on it for
2024.
2024.
JK.
The other one is shoulder shrugs. A shoulder shrug is uncertainty.
Oh, that's a good one. I see this. I see this.
Yeah, so that's
And
uncertainty.
legs
So
cross.
yes, well let's start focus on shrugs first. So
Yeah,
because
yeah.
there's three shrugs. So the shoulder shrug, the hand shrug, and the mouth shrug.
Okay.
And they're all telling you, again, these are three nonverbal objections.
Mhm.
They're telling you there's something they're uncertain about. But verbally, they're usually saying in this moment, no, I have no questions. And then they shrug.
Mm.
That you don't have as much rapport and trust as you thought you did.
Okay.
Um, Sidebar: rapport and trust is connected to warmth and likability. So if you're taking notes, write down the equation: warmth plus trust. No, warmth and likability. Warmth plus
Mhm.
likability
Equals
equals
trust.
trust.
Mhm.
But many of us in sales, and me included, it's a slippery slope. I have to remind myself all the time. We tend to lead with our expertise. And your expertise, that you've been there for 30 years, or this is a family
Yep.
owned business, five
Mhm.
decades, we're here to
Yep.
service your car,
Mhm.
blah, 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 we're not going anywhere.
Mhm.
Those things are fine, but that equals competence. Competence equals respect. So if you lead this interaction with me with how great this particular car company is and how long you've been
Mhm.
around and how
Mhm.
long
Mhm.
you've worked
Mhm.
there, those things are great. It's saying I should respect you, that you know what you're doing.
Right.
But first, the most important thing is, can I trust you? And I call this the caveman exercise. So if I brought my ex-husband and my three sons and we're in a cave, Jen,
Mhm.
and you come along, am I first saying, can this Jen cave girl, this cutie pie Jen cave girl, could she light a good fire? Or am I first asking, when we go to sleep, is she gonna take my kids and my
Mhm.
ex-husband and leave me for dead?
Right.
Like, I'm first asking, can I trust her? Then I'm
Mhm.
asking, if you're competent, can you light the
Mhm.
fire?
Mhm.
So it's important to think of the cave, be a caveman. Think first,
Mm. Mhm.
my job is to be warm and likable, because warmth and likability increases trust. This is why when you have your headset in, when you come and say hello to me, and you're like, oh, I'm still listening. I'm like, yeah, you need to take that thing out of your head. I'm not
Yeah.
dropping 75 grand today with some tool with it that has no self-awareness.
Mhm.
Emotional intelligence is critical. So take that out. Are you being warm and likable? Imagine
Mm.
you're talking to your grandmother. She came to
Yeah.
visit. Have that body language, that you're seeing your grandmother, if you liked her. If you didn't like her, then pick
Of
someone
course.
you liked when you were a kid. If you
So in
respected her.
in this regard, it's if you're thinking, you're not only thinking about your words, and for me, I'm really big on a warm welcome. I say it all the time. In fact, I sometimes say it to customers. I want to give you a warm welcome. I'm Jen. I'm going to be helping you out today. I
Oh,
want to make sure you're taken care of. It's important to me that I hear what you
I
need
love
so
that.
I can save your time and blah blah blah. Okay, but for me, I people want to feel welcomed, and for me,
Yes.
this is point one. As soon as I see you, I want to have so I'm guessing that there's some sort of body language that it says this is a warm welcome outside of the words. For me, I say, hey, welcome, I'm Jen, I'm going to be helping you out today. It's my
Okay,
inflection way.
let's talk about what you did. Hold on.
Okay.
Your tone and pitch. Yeah, you're analyzing yourself. Tone and pitch, yes.
Okay.
If people aren't seeing you right now and they're listening, you touched
Mhm.
your heart. Okay, you touched
Yeah.
your chest. You're like,
Yeah.
"Hi, I'm Jen,"
I
and
always
you
do.
touched your chest.
Yeah.
When we touch our chest, it's a term.
Mhm.
It's a body language signal of endearment. Plus, you did a little eyebrow flash. An eyebrow flash is excitement cue, like when Joey from Friends would see a pretty girl. I'm like, how
Okay.
you doing?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. So an eyebrow flash is like, oh, like I'm so happy to see you, right? And then I love the fact, Jen, that you say I'm here to give you a warm welcome. Like even
Mhm,
saying that is really
mhm.
wonderful.
Well, it's
Um,
unexpected. Nobody says that. Literally
yes,
nobody says that.
I
But it's
love
like,
it.
how can you be an asshole to me when I'm like, I'm giving you a warm welcome, you know?
Yes,
Yeah.
it's so funny because you think that people would understand what it is, but you're literally say, I love that you
I'm
say, I'm
making
going to
sure
share
you
this
know.
now. I'm going to
Because
share that.
the thing is, well, I'm trying to fast forward everything too, because I mean, I got seconds for you to get on board. So I am
Yes.
thinking about, being authentic. And look at that's me.
Yeah.
And
Well,
and and
listen,
it's
I
what
was,
you would do to grandma. I'm
yes,
you're
treat them how
here.
you treat your grandmother. So listen, I get unsweet iced tea from McDonald's. Okay. I don't eat
Mm,
McDonald's, but I like their unsweet iced tea.
okay.
I go every day. Every morning, I get a large unsweet iced tea. I drop my kids off at school. There's a McDonald's up the street. I drive through. I know some of the
Okay.
people that work there, right? I'm like, Maria, Janine. We know each other from the voice
Yes.
while I order it. Okay.
That
They know
yep.
I don't want the receipt. They know I don't use the
Mhm.
mobile app. They like using the mobile app. I'm like, it's Janine. They're like, oh, okay, no, large unsweet iced tea. So guess what? Yesterday, my
Yeah.
au pair is a word for a nanny from another
Yeah,
country,
yeah.
right? I like cultural diversity and all that stuff. So she happens to be from Italy. This they come and live with me for a year. So
Francesca.
Francesca, yeah. So Francesca's next to me, right? So we go up. Francesca happens to be. This sounds so dorky, but she's like needle pointing because we
Okay.
went to a store Christmas shopping yesterday morning, and
That seems
they
like a
had for
Christmas thing.
four. Yeah, for $4, they had this needle point thing, and she's like needle pointing. She's pansexual, so she likes all humans, and she's needle pointing a rainbow. Okay,
Okay.
so she's
Mhm.
needle point. She just bought it that yesterday morning, $4. This one little circle, you pull the thing, and she needle point. The woman at the McDonald's drive-thru, who's always so friendly, her name is Doris. Doris is like, oh, doesn't speak a lick of English.
Uh-huh.
Oh, will you get that? And I'm like, I don't even know what she's talking about. Like, I thought she was pointing at like, where do you get the au pair? I'm like, it's
Italy.
through a, yeah, like I don't, she's not
There's
the
a
same.
site.
Like,
She's not
yeah, and I'm
this.
like, I didn't know what she was pointing at, right? Because she didn't speak a lick of English, but she's always friendly. Her eyebrows
Mhm.
go up. She's always like, no receipt, right? No receipt.
You
With
have
like,
no idea what
she
she's
knows like
saying,
five
but you
words.
see her face.
Yeah, I could see her face. She speaks
Mhm.
like 5 words, no receipt.
Yeah.
Um, and what she wanted was this needlepoint thing. She was like loving it. She got excited. So, but I'm trying to explain. We got it from the store over there called Gabe's, and it's like this discount crap store of like a bunch of crap, and it's $4. But she's so nice. Guess what I did?
Mhm.
I went back over to Gabe's, and not then, the day after. So this was yesterday morning. So I went back last night. I bought another one of those needlepoint things.
Mhm.
And when I've not gone to get iced tea today because I have an eye problem and I'm not having
Mhm.
caffeine. So,
Mhm.
but
Or
when I
drinking.
see her, it's yeah.
Oh, I lost you.
Jen, I
There you
lost you.
are. It's okay.
Hi, sorry. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I'm still driving. I'm just not getting caffeine. So, but I bought her one and it's in the truck. It's in my truck. So now when I go by tomorrow, I'm going to give Doris, or
Okay.
whenever I go, I'm going to give her the needlepoint. I bought her
Mhm.
one. Story. Because the way you make people feel. I'm the customer at
Mhm.
McDonald's and I'm
Mhm.
parking my car, going
Mhm.
into the store called Gabe's, spending $4 and whatever, 30 cents to buy this for the lady that gives me the thing I'm buying at
Mhm.
McDonald's.
Mhm.
That's the power of a smile. It
Mm.
transcends. It doesn't matter that she doesn't speak a lick of English to me. Her smile, her joy, the eyebrow flash when she hands me my drink, just smiling, and
Yeah.
I'm buying her the thing, So body language matters. As a matter of fact, Journal of Applied Psychology said that body language affects hiring and job interviews. Another study was done, Journal of Business and Technological Communication. Emotional intelligence is self-awareness and social awareness. So body language of us and of decoding others. Emotional intelligence is potentially the highest correlated thing to sales performance.
Mm.
Emotional intelligence, Journal of Business and Technological Communication. Higher emotional intelligence equals stronger relationships, navigate negotiations effectively, and adapt to various customer needs right in the moment. You're able to tailor your communication. So when those lips disappear, you see the shoulder shrug, or there's another one called a pacifier. A pacifier is when a piece of our body touches another piece of our body. So if you rub your leg, so everybody rub your leg. You probably heard me say this, Jen. I talked about this, I think, with Mel Robbins and the Mel Robbins show. I don't know if you did you hear that Mel Robbins podcast? I don't know if you did.
No, no. But
Okay,
I
so
a lot of times people will do this too, in their hands. Probably
yes,
similar. Okay.
so that's a pacifying. So pacifying is a piece of our body rubbing another piece of our body.
Yeah.
So everybody while listening, just rub your knee. Okay, Britney Spears rubbed her knee when she was pregnant with her second kid and divorcing. Matt Lauer interviewed her and she was chewing gum, her boobs were hanging out. And Matt Lauer
Mhm.
goes, pregnant and divorcing? She said, none of that's true. And she rubbed her knee. So everyone rub your knee and say, none of
Mm.
that's true. None of that's true. 2 weeks later, she filed for divorce. So everyone rub
Mhm.
your knee and say, who's on the phone? So rub your knee. Who's on the phone?
Mhm.
Now rub your upper arm. So let me see you do it, Jen. Rub your upper arm.
Okay.
Yeah, and
Okay.
say, Janine, who's on the phone?
Who's on the phone?
Okay, grab your throat, rub your throat. Say, who's
Okay.
on the phone?
Who's on the phone?
Rub your back of your neck. Okay, squeeze the back of your neck. Say,
Mhm.
who's on the
Mhm.
phone?
Who's on the phone?
Now rub your forehead. Who's on your phone?
Gosh,
Last
I
one.
already feel so weak doing this. You
Who
seem
stresses
so
you out the most? The one with the forehead. So all those head ones, the higher the pacifier, the more stress and anxiety.
okay.
So
Yeah.
the
Mm.
low pacifier, they're rubbing their hands, they're rubbing their upper arm, they're holding their wrist,
Mhm.
they rub their knee while
Mhm.
they're sitting down. There's some stress
Mhm.
there.
Okay.
But the closer we get to our head, the higher the stress. Why? Because our brain is in there.
Hmm.
And so when you see high level pacifiers, this is a
Okay.
problem. And by the way, a high level pacifier is me taking my tongue and cleaning my teeth. You'll
Oh,
sometimes see people take their tongue and they clean their teeth, like they rub their tongue around their teeth or push it inside their cheek.
yes, I've seen this. I've done this.
Hmm. Right
Mhm.
there. That's a spike in stress.
Mhm.
Okay.
So what should you do when you see these signs? What okay.
Okay,
I
great.
can't wait.
So, you could do a different thing. So, one, in I like to say my favorite is move your body, move your mind.
Okay.
In law enforcement, we get more confessions walking from the interrogation room back to the cell, or from the cell to the interrogation room, than we do in the actual interrogation room.
Hmm.
So, you want to move their body, move their minds. So, you're noticing that stress. Now, if you already know the MIW formula,
Mhm.
um, it is maybe I'm wrong here. Maybe I'm wrong here. It seems to me that, something is potentially a problem here. Because here's the deal, pushing the tongue in the cheek firmly against one cheek. Everyone try it. Push your tongue
Yeah.
against the
I mean,
cheek
you've got something going on if you're going to do that.
and hold it in place. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's relieving tension. And this is most often seen in individuals in high stress or
Mm.
those hiding information or they're getting away with something.
Okay.
All right. It can now, of
Mhm.
course, it could be seen with like a hot guy being playful and cheeky in a bar too, like, oh, hello, ladies. Mm-hmm. Yummy, yummy. So paying attention. So maybe I'm wrong here. It seems to me that there's some challenges that you're thinking about right now, because maybe
There
this
we
person
go.
doesn't think they don't think their credit is going to be approved.
I could be
They don't know
wrong,
that
but
their spouse is there.
there might be
Yeah.
okay. Yeah.
Maybe I'm wrong here, but it feels to me that you have some concerns.
Yeah.
It's okay to say the word concerns because they have high stress.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you don't want to waste your time. Why are you
No.
wasting your time for three
No,
hours? Their
you're trying
credit's
to
not going to get
figure out and
approved.
isolate the objections so you can move forward. So if you are getting indicators from body language and you're seeking it, you're looking for it, you're searching for it. I mean, when you see these indicators, this is your opportunity to move this deal forward faster by acknowledging what you're seeing and asking more clarifying questions. And I love your word tracks, if you will. I mean, I think those are the things that we got to go back and listen to. And I think, you've given us so much stuff in here. I don't even want to end this because quite frankly, like these are such relevant aspects to selling. And I'm always the sales BFF. I want to see everybody thrive and do well. And I'm always talking words and statements and questions. And this is the other side of the coin. I didn't mean to interrupt you, but I'm
No, it's okay. It's
so
okay.
excited about all of these things. This is like one of these episodes that you have to go back and listen to more than once, and you have to take
Oh my
notes
God.
and then write some of these things down, and then really rethink your strategy. Be mindful of your sales encounters in the days and weeks ahead, and then start to pinpoint. All right, this is a thing. I see it. I notice it. Probably going to be like Amazon now, or Facebook, Instagram. They start serving you up ads now on body language.
Well, listen, you know what? It's so funny. I dated my ex-husband owned a Harley, and I never seen so many Harleys on the highway until I married a guy that had a Harley.
Well, you
Like
notice
now
you notice their sign.
yeah, I did. And then I'm like, you do know you're in a minivan, right, dude? You know you're in a Honda Odyssey minivan, right? And he's like, wow, he knows I used to own a Harley. I go, yeah, you look
Yeah,
like you sold out. You look like a sellout.
you sold out.
Um, but there's one last one. So there's over
Mm.
5,000 moves. So there's one last one I'd like to
Wow.
share before I
Okay.
answer any questions you have, Jen, that we may or not have gone over, because I
Jeez,
know
what
there's
could
so
I
much.
I mean, I have a million questions. We're gonna have to do a
I
part two.
know. We'll have to do a part two, and with a video, and my
You
eyes
promise?
not twitching nonstop. Promise, my eyes not twitching nonstop for 5 days. Tongue protruding.
Okay.
So a tongue protruding, because this you can also see on a phone call, on a webinar, and you can see all of these body language things we're talking with sales in the car industry. But here's the deal: you could see this with your significant others. You could see this if you're in the dating world. You could see this with your kids. So
Mm,
tongue protruding. Tongue protruding is when someone is often doing something complex. So I want you to think back in the old days. I'm 53.
mm,
Had to think about it. So I'm 53. Threading a needle, like you would stick your tongue out when threading a needle. Some women stick out their tongues when they are putting on mascara. All right. So when you're performing something with finality, like these tiny little minute moves, like
mhm,
threading a needle or putting on mascara, you stick out their tongue. Okay. So it'll
mhm,
either go one side or lower lip. But I want you to listen closely, because when someone sticks out their tongue, it's deep concentration. So university students do this all the time when they're taking a test. The tongue placement serves dual purpose. It pacifies, while at the same time communicates to others that we're busy and should not be disturbed. All right, Michael Jordan did this all the time when playing
uh-huh.
basketball. All right,
Right.
I'm a huge Michael Jordan fan, right? So Michael
Yeah.
Jordan and Larry Bird. But Michael Jordan famously did this when playing basketball. His tongue would be out, and 2 points or a 3 point shot would be seconds later.
Mm,
All right. So why do I tell you this? When someone's tongue, notice the tongue out. When someone's tongue is out, they are doing some deep concentration. They're running the numbers. They're thinking about what they're going to do with this truck. They're thinking, should they get it today? Should they trade in? Or should they buy the truck flat out and sell their car on their own? They're doing some deep math here. So this is a time for you to let them kick around some ideas. Give them a second. Just give them a
mm.
second. And then after they give you eye contact and they re-engage, then say, hey, it seemed to me that you were, thinking about some things, processing some numbers.
Mm.
And they'll be like, holy shit, how do you know that? Like, how do you
Janine
know that?
Driver.
Because you're in their head. Yeah, you're in your head. Yeah, I use it all the time. Listen, this is one of the questions you had sent me in advance was a time I use body language successfully. I do it all the time. And one is a guy named Carl Sozano, and he's probably retired now, but he was a senior VP at a company called Booz Allen Hamilton.
Mhm,
And I talk about body leveraging. Body leveraging means there are times you want to give them the upper hand. So like when they're like, for me, when I'm sitting in my truck, you want to be standing on the ground looking up at me. That's
mhm.
awesome. You don't want to talk about how much this car costs while they're sitting in the front seat and you're standing outside the car looking down at them, because that number just doubled in their brain.
Mhm.
So paying attention to body leveraging. If they're sitting in the car in that little bucket seat and you're standing
Leveraging.
outside the window, and I'd ask you, how much does this cost or what's the best price I can get in the car and talk about it with me.
Sit next to them. Yeah.
Sit next to me,
Okay.
or find a way to get me taller than you.
Mhm.
If you in your seat, by the way, at your desk, whatever seat I'm sitting at across from you, make sure
Mm.
your seat is lower than my seat. You
Mm.
want them to have the higher seats. When you have the higher seat, your number is as if you're screaming your number at them.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks too
So body
authoritative, like
leveraging.
you're trying to be too much in control.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, yeah,
So
yeah,
so this guy, Carl Sozano,
dominating.
senior VP, right? The highest guy in the room. I'm speaking to, like, I don't know, 2,800 people. And afterwards I was talking to him. He was sitting out in the hallway at the hotel in DC. and whatever hotel, I forget what it was called. And he's sitting down, he gets off a call, and I come over and I shake his hand. I go, Carl Lozano, Janine Driver, I just spoke a couple minutes ago. He goes, Janine, you did a great job. Now I'm standing, okay?
Yeah.
And I get down on my, this sounds crazy, but I literally get down on my knee next to Carl Lozano because I didn't want to take a seat until he gave me permission to take the seat. All right.
Hmm.
So I get on my knee.
Can't hear you.
Hold on, I'm coughing.
Oh.
Sorry. Oh my God, I'm falling apart here today. So cancel, cancel. I get on my knee and I said, hey, Carl, let me ask you a couple questions. And I start talking about a couple things. I don't know what it was. He goes, Janine, take a seat. I go, oh, okay, thanks. But guess what? That led to him booking me 2 more times. And I said, you can make money getting on your knees after all.
That's what she
Even if
said.
you don't, even if you're not super physically fit, you can still make money getting on your knees. So that one teeny gesture, I used body
Mhm.
leveraging to just talk and build rapport. He gave me permission to sit down. Once I sat down, I was at his level and we
Mhm.
became friends. See, I like people who say the F bomb. People say the F bomb strategically, not like nonstop.
Yeah.
I call it the F factor. It just, I feel like I can trust them. I just
Mhm.
feel like I can trust them. My mother never swore, God bless her soul. She had breast
Mm.
cancer and she goes, if I die from breast cancer, I'm coming back as a swearing person like you and your father. So but my mother was a nurse and she used to say, oh, the fucks were flying, Janine. You would have loved this doctor in the emergency room today. And I tell you all this because I don't
Mm.
just teach this stuff. I use it all the time, using body leveraging with Carl Lozano at Booz Allen Hamilton. By the way,
Mhm.
I write about that guy.
You practice what you
And
preach.
yeah, I write about him in one of my books.
Mm.
And I write about the company, about how I did that. I didn't say I got on my knees and made money, but use this. Use this because research, I mean, even the Journal of Personal Selling and Sales Management, who knew? But body language, gestures, and facial expressions significantly impact the outcome because it helps
Mm.
us connect with clients, understand their
That's
needs, and
right.
conveys trust, that warmth and
Yeah.
likability, which Jen, you have in spades.
Mhm. Yeah. Janine, this is literally such an important piece in life. Life is sales. This is what I tell my 3 little girls. Everything is sales. Be mindful of people, listen, react accordingly. It's not just about your words, but it's the way that you deliver them. It's the way you look at people. It's the way that you use your hands. This is all talking. All your body language is talking. It's like literally another language running parallel to whatever it is that you're saying.
Yes.
What you're saying, you've thought about, and you want to make an impact, and you're really trying to make those connections and ensure that people hear you. Make sure that they see you and your character for what you're trying to do. Car salespeople are hustlers. These people, and I don't mean that in a negative way.
Yes.
Like,
No, they
you're
work their asses off.
they work their asses off. They're giving up an extraordinary amount of things, important events, their family, time,
Weekends. Yep.
weekends. So you need to be seen and heard at all points in time. And sometimes, we're not thinking about could really lose out in what your full potential is. You're so capable, and
By the
you've
way, emotional
heard.
intelligence grow. Jen, I love you so much. Emotional intelligence grows with age,
Mm,
and you can learn it. I don't care how old you are, you can learn new things.
of course
Once
you
you
can.
learn it, you can't unlearn it. You could teach it to your kids, Jen. Clearly,
Mm,
you're doing that. My kids, my son Jack, he's my youngest. He's 9. For a little
uh-huh.
while there, I'd get feisty. Like I get in a cleaning mood where they're like, oh, get out of mom's way. I'm like, I'm cleaning closets today, and I'm like, a little bit of OCD shines out. And Jack, I'd be fussy. And Jack would be like, Mom, why do you have to be? And I'm like, Jack, I need you to look at my facial expression. I need to know you to notice the tone and pitch of how I'm talking. And before you say whatever you're going to say, I need you to stop and say, is this the right time to say what you want to say? Because this is your emotional intelligence. You need to take in like what you're saying, Jen, your tone, your
Mhm,
pitch, the facial expression, the body language. And I got really pissy a couple weeks ago. I do
mhm,
alphabet dating with my kids. So
mhm,
alphabet dating is each of us takes a day. So like Jack planned an A date and we went to an arcade. Then we went
mm,
a B date, and then
fun.
we just did the I date. We went ice skating, and then we saw this interactive Asian exhibit,
Mhm,
holiday
mhm,
exhibit over in
mhm,
Tyson's Corner here in Virginia.
mhm, mhm,
So, um, For the H date, I took my kids to Hershey Park, Pennsylvania, where they were going to make
Mhm.
Hershey bars.
Mhm.
And my ex-husband knew I was going to do this, and he told our oldest, who's 18, he told him the surprise. So I was pissed. And he goes, well, he's 18. He wants to know. I go, that's my story to tell. Now what? He lost. How many 18-year-old boys get cool surprises? You know, there's no surprises for 18.
Right.
They don't believe in, Santa, Easter Bunny, all this stuff. So I'm like, you
Mhm.
just stole that surprise. I'm so pissed. And Jack, I was in the car. I was so mad. And Jack didn't say a word. And after I calmed down, and I'm like, Janine, it's okay. I say when I'm angry, by the way, here's a great tip for people who are hotheads. Seven below, let it go. Eight, nine, 10, be pissed off then. So if you can number how angry you are about something, you can
Mhm.
control it. The expression is
Mm.
name it to tame it. So name it to tame it. So you say 0 to 10, how pissed am I? So
Uh-huh.
for me, I had to get out of the car and I'm like, okay, 0 to 10. And I
You're
was
an
like a
8.
6.
Okay.
That's like 6.79. I was like right there. But seven below, let it go. Eight, nine, 10, be pissed off then. And the reason this works is when you can name it, you can tame
Hmm.
it. Because when we number something, the blood has to go back to the neocortex part of our brain, the neocortex, the higher thinking. All right. You think the squirrel in your front yard is
Mm.
prioritizing what it's going to accomplish tomorrow? No. No, because it doesn't have the
Mhm.
neocortex the way we have it, right? So we have this
Mhm.
neocortex thing part of our brain. So name it to tame it. I tell you the story because I'm losing my shit. I'm pissy
Yeah,
and I'm
yeah.
pretty good at it. I get out of the car, I number it 6.79, whatever it was,
Under
and
7.
I
Let it
shake
go.
it off. So I say, if
Mhm.
you can't giggle it off, wiggle it off. So I
Mm.
literally wiggle because when you wiggle from your forehead to your fanny, this is the stage where babies roll over. When a baby rolls over, they use their forehead and their fanny to roll over.
Uh-huh.
And that's the stage where babies are developing self awareness, which is emotional intelligence. So if you have a pissy mood, you're fighting with your wife or your ex wife, and you go to work, wiggle it off. Number how pissed are you? Because otherwise, you're bringing that bad face with you to the job. I checked into a hotel once in Vegas, and the guy goes, welcome to the Caesar's Palace. It was like 12 a.m. their time. That's 3 a.m. my time in DC. So I'm like, do you like working here after midnight? The guy goes, yeah, I love working here after midnight. I go, well, you got to
Liar.
let your face in on the secret. Because, he didn't even realize. So let your face in on the secret. Are you aware of what your face is saying when you show that face up at work? Number
Mm.
it, name it to tame it. How pissy are
Mhm.
you before you get in? Or same thing when you go home. Number it, leave it on the doorstep, 0 to 10, right? Seven
Mhm.
below, let it go.
Mhm.
8, 9, 10, be angry then. So at the end of this car ride, I said to Jack, I go, I want to talk to you, Jack, my youngest. I go, I was so angry at your dad for telling the surprise to Angus. And I go, do you know what? You didn't say a word. That shows me your emotional intelligence is growing. You must have noticed my tone and my facial expression and how angry I was. Because in the past, you would say something and you didn't say anything. He goes, I did. He goes, I was listening for all of it. So,
Mm.
just the way your listeners right now, you as a listener, you can't unhear or unexperience what you've just tried on with us and what you've heard with Jen and myself. It's there. It's inside of you now. You're going to start to hear it and notice it
Yes.
and keep going further and further with this world. There's training you can do, there's books that you can buy, and Jen will have me hopefully back, and we'll do a video component. And I'll send you this interview of what I did, or my training, what I did for the $1 Million Roundtable for
Can't wait.
sales. And I'll send it to you, Jen, and you can give it to your listeners. And
I'll put it in the show notes. I'll put everything you send, whatever you give, I'll put it in the show notes because I know they're gonna love this episode as much as I do. And this could be the longest episode I've ever done. And I'll tell you, I don't want to end it.
sorry,
And I'm
sorry,
so
I'm sorry. I
no.
know.
I mean, look, you are a talker, and so am I. And talkers love talkers. So
Yeah, that's what
but
happens.
frankly, everything you're saying is so intriguing and it's next level sales, frankly. And I'm thrilled that you shared this much time with us. Honestly, I
Yes,
cannot wait to have you back. And
thank you.
especially, yeah, and because your wealth of knowledge, you have so much to unpack in there, and you're so
Mm.
gracious to share everything that you've got with us. Everyone should watch your TED Talks. They should read your books. They should look at your interviews that you've got on YouTube. They should watch your TikToks. They should follow you on Instagram. They should do all of these things
Thank
because
you.
you've got to, we heard this stuff and you can go back and listen to the episode again. I always recommend that. Take your notes. That way it's forever. You can, snap your photos, put it in your camera roll and practice this stuff. You want to get to the next level. You want to be top 1% performer. You got to listen and you got to write it down and you got to practice it and you got to come back and reinforce it. And there's plenty of tools online. We live in the information era. So go out there and get all these tools and do something for you. And then the next thing you know, you're teaching your kids and everybody around you. Be an influencer.
Yes,
A body
just
language. It's
just like
okay.
you. Just like you, my dear. I love you. Your body language
Thank
is
you.
great. Your enthusiasm is, I could keep talking forever and ever and ever because you're so wonderful and because I can clearly see that you care about this industry and the people in
Yes.
it. And thank you
I
for
love it.
inviting me to share in your space a little bit. And if I could ever help anybody, my name's Janine Driver. Let me know how I can help. My website's the same name, JanineDriver.com. I don't do any online like training right now, like where you can buy it and do it on your own.
No, but let me
I
tell
don't
you,
like that. I don't like that type of stuff. I like live. Like I like talking to humans, you know?
I agree. I do too. And I got to tell you, I can tell you one thing I'm going to do to give back to you. I am going to tell all of my clients, and I've got some big ones right there in your backyard, and
Ooh,
about you because I feel that this is something I have never seen this in our industry. I've seen a lot of speakers. I'm going to also recommend you in Tyson's, which by the way, I work in Tyson's regularly. So we are lunching, girl. Okay, get
oh,
ready
cut
for
it
it.
out.
I
That's so
cannot
good.
wait.
It's like
So
10 minutes away.
yeah, the National Automobile Dealers Association is headquartered there. And I am going to make a recommendation for them to even bring you into the NADA show. I think it's already going to be, we're past the mark for this for 2024 because it's in early Feb. But for next year, I believe that you should be a keynote
Good.
speaker for this event. This is an industry event. And not only that, so again, I'm going to go back to all of my clients and many
Thank
of my
you, Jen.
clients, they've acquired a lot of stores. They have a million dealerships. I work the East Coast too. So it'd be right in your backyard. And I'm going to suggest that they bring you in as a speaker. And I know the dealership teams, you are for everybody in the store, which
Oh,
is
thank you.
outstanding. Really,
Thank you. Well,
your passion, your love, your generosity. I see you. I
thank
appreciate you.
you.
Yeah,
I
I'm
say
going to do
thank
what
you.
I
I
can
love
to
you.
give
And
back.
I love referrals. Thank you, Jen. You're so
Yeah.
nice. I do say I'm open. I say I'm open. I'm trusting. I am generosity. I'm
You're a freaking
power.
ray of light.
And I'm love. So hopefully it comes through. And I really loved being here and playing with you in your space.
Thank
And
you.
for the people that are out there, like make this your year, man. Like this is
Yes.
good things can happen. And I know you work your ass off. All of us do as entrepreneurs or as salespeople.
Hmm.
We're constantly, and it's sad because we do have to think about next month and next year constantly, and
Constantly, every month.
it, stay positive. You have 17 seconds to complain. If you don't know about this, one last fun fact. After 17 seconds, if you complain about a second thing, you've created momentum in the wrong direction. So
Mm.
at 17 seconds, you can bitch and complain. After 17 seconds, name
And
15
scene.
things you're grateful for. Yep.
There you
And
go.
then end on
Switch
gratefulness. And I'm
gears.
grateful for you, Jen, and grateful for everyone
Mm.
listening so long. If you hung in there, God
Love
love you.
it. This is like a Joe
Thanks.
Rogan episode.
It is. We need to both
He's
get
so
on
good,
there.
I can never end it. I'm like, 2 hours?
Oh,
Who's doing
I
two
know.
hours?
Damn it. Damn it. He is good. Well, thanks, Jen. Thank you for everything, and thanks for the referrals in advance, and
Of
thanks
course.
everyone for listening in. This was fun.
Thank you. Ah,
I'll be
my
back. I'll
pleasure.
be back.
I
All
can't
right.
wait.